How's it going? David from Comic Book Investments. So we're going to look at 5 keys that are heating up. And one of these books on here, oh man, it has gone up more than I've ever seen, I think, on this show. It's crazy how much it's gone up. 880%. Yes, you heard that right. In a couple months, it went up 880%. And it's wow. And there's 5 books on here that have gone up a ton, but I forbid you to buy them at these prices. Forbid you. You are not allowed. So if you decide that you're like, hey, that's a good book, I think it's going to go up more, don't buy it. Do not buy these books at all. I want you to stay away from these books. Eventually, they'll go right back down to where they normally are. And yeah, and you can just get them for cheap if you really want them. So yes, I forbid you to buy them at these prices. All these books on here are pretty much going to be modern books. So if you guys like moderns, here you go. You get a bunch of moderns. But yeah, crazy prices. So let's get right into it. First, we got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. There's not much data on this, but a 9.8 back in January sold for $65. Now selling for $200. That is up 208%. So this is popping off because obviously James Gunn was like, hey, I'm going to do a Supergirl TV show, movie, something. I don't know. Whatever he's going to do, something. So this book, as you can see in the graph, just went straight up. But if you look before, this book was case cost. And what do I mean by case cost? Case cost is basically what it costs to case a book. You're basically spending, $25 to get a modern graded. Then you have to ship there, ship back, insurance, all that stuff. So it's going to run you almost $50 just to do all that stuff. And so this book was selling for $65 not too long ago, and before that was selling for less than that, like $30. I think at one point it sold for like $19 last year. Yeah, so this book is not going to be really worth anything. It's going to drop like a stone. So there's been multiple ones. 200 was recent one, but they had a couple for 170. Do not buy this book at this price because it will drop all the way back down to case costs around. It's probably going to land around like 30 to 50, $60, somewhere around there. Maybe if they ever come out with this, whatever they're going to do, who knows? Because they might have a plan now, and by the time they get to it, it doesn't happen because this is years away that they're predicting. I mean, remember they made that Batgirl movie that they never released. So they do this stuff all the time. The MCU is pushing back all their DC Plus stuff, except a couple of them. So this stuff happens. You never know what's going to happen with this. It may never get made. And even if it did get made, and you're like, oh, it's going to be huge, it's going to be blah, blah, this book is not the one that's going to get affected. The book that you want to get is Action Comics 252, first appearance of Supergirl. That's the one. You also have Superman 123, which was a Supergirl tryout, which predates Action Comics 252, but it's not the Supergirl that we know. It's more of like just a one-off type of thing. But nonetheless, I think that's how it goes anyways. Nonetheless, don't buy at this price. I forbid you. Next, we got Spider-Man, The Lost Years, #1. We got a 9.6 selling for $70. You sell for $20. That's up 71%. And a 9.8 is up 67% from $90 just a few months ago. Now selling for $150. This is going up because, say this wrong, Janine Godby. I don't know. I think that's how I say it. Anyways, this has to do with like the clone and Ben Reilly and all that stuff. She's a new villain. Yeah, I mean, 150 is not like it's not like insane price that you're paying, and 67% is up a little bit. And these are going to be those like one-off things where it's like, someone puts it up a 9.8 for 150. I think this would be a flash in the pan, but if you went back not too long ago, it was selling for basically like $90, $100, $75, things like that. So having to jump up to 150 is just someone who's like, I want that book, paying a premium for it. I would suggest, it's kind of hard because this is in that price range where it's kind of iffy because you could easily find this book, right? You could find a raw book of this for next to nothing, $5, $10 or something. And then you have to hope that you get a 9.8, right? You look at the pictures on eBay. It looks like a 9.8. The guy says it's a 9.8. You get it in. Oh, it looks pretty good. Send it in. Oh, you get a 9.4. So, but nonetheless, I think this book will go down, back down to basically under $100. So I forbid you to buy this book. Next, we got The Realm of Kings, Son of Hulk, #1. Not much data, so a 9.8 is up 880% from $10. The last sale, yes, if you look at that graph, was 2018, and then one sold for $98. Look, this is the first appearance of Gentora, and she is the rebellion leader in the new Ant-Man movie. If you haven't seen it, who cares? She's not like a standout character. She's going to get all this own stuff and whatever. It's probably a one and done. You'll never see her again. Just a side character. I'm assuming literally no one buys this book. You got a sale in 2015, and then one in 2018, and then one now. And both those sales previously for next to nothing, like $10, $12. You can find this book for like $5 to $10 on eBay right now, raw. If you want this book, just buy it like that. If you're looking for a 9.8, I'm not sure why you'd want a 9.8 unless you want to have a 9.8 in case and put it in your wall. Then it's probably best to, I guess, find and buy a 9.8. But this book is just not valuable. It's not going to go up anytime soon. I forbid you to buy it at this price. Next, we got Avengers Annual 21. A 9.8 is up 100% from 160 to 320. Look at that graph, just straight up at the end. This is, spoiler alert for Ant-Man 3, but at the very end, like the second credits scene or whatever it's called, end credits scene, there is a new Kang, and they go to like, I don't know, it's like either the late 1800s, early 1900s, and there's I think his name is Victor Timely or something like that. Timely is actually a throwback to when Marvel Comics used to be called Timely Comics. And I guess he's going to be the new Kang villain. I'm not really sure. There's lots of Kangs. But anyways, this is the first appearance of this Kang. And yeah, $320 for a 9.8. No, please don't buy it at that price. That is way too much. It's not really worth much. You could probably find this book, no problem. If you really want to get a Kang anything, now I'm talking strictly like this is investment. I think if you bought this for $320, it's going to be hard to get your money back at any reasonable time soon. But if you were trying to buy for an investment purposes, you just go with Avengers 8. You got Avengers 8. You also got Fantastic Four 19. That's kind of like an iteration of Kang. You also got Fantastic Four Annual 2. And then I think, was it Avengers 23? That's a good one. He's a big on the cover. But yeah, Avengers 8, that's going to be your go-to. But yeah, this book, don't buy it at this price. This is way too much. If you look, it's just gone straight up. I mean, the thing is with this book and all the other books is people see this price and they'll go digging through theirs like, oh, I have a bunch, because it's not like this book is rare or any of these other books that I showed you are rare. And then people are just going to start putting it on the market because they're like, oh, this one sold for a couple hundred. This is $300, $400, $500. So they're going to start sending them to CGC. They'll get them back, flood the market, and then the ones that have them raw or already graded, they'll put them on eBay or wherever, all that kind of stuff, and it's just going to drop right back down. So way too much. If you really want it and you don't care about the money and you just want to have it, then that's fine. But from the Comic Book Investment Channel, no, I forbid you to buy this. Last on the list is Spectacular Spider-Man 24. A 9.4 is up 150% from $100 not too long ago to $250. A 9.6 is up 608% from $66 to $467, and a 9.8 is up 261% from $180 just a few months ago, now selling for $650. Look at that graph just straight up. Now, these numbers, 261 and 608, would be like amazing numbers, but they just happen to be on this list of a bunch of other ones that all have amazing numbers. So, obviously 880 is the peak of this week, but this one, 608 from, literally $66. Now, this book I've gotten many runs of Spectacular Spider-Man, and this book was a nothing book. It wasn't until Donald Glover is now going to have like a cameo, small role as the Hypno Hustler. That's why this book is going up. But here's the thing. This book is not hard to find. So why is someone spending $650 for a 9.8? Because now, all of a sudden, like I said previously, there's going to be a bunch of people coming out with their 9.8s. There was, I believe I looked on the census, and there's like a little bit under 30, like 27, 28 or something that are 9.8. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's a small number. Only 28 and 9.8. Well, that's pretty rare. No, the reason why is because before that, it was selling for like $180. Most people are just like, I'm not going to send my book in to get it graded. It's not really worth it, you know. So they just don't. So there's actually a lot more 9/8. There's a difference. There's not very many people holding on to their Action Comics #1, you know, and like, I want to keep it raw, and I'm not going to get it graded. Most of those have been graded. So the ones you see on the census is usually probably all the ones that exist in the world. But something like this, you might be like, oh, it only has like 27 and a 9/8, and only like a handful and a 9/6. That's because most people aren't sending in their copies because they don't care. It's not really worth it. So just because you look at the census and you think it's a small number, it's really much bigger than that. So this is very common. Like I said, I've gotten multiple runs of this. This book is never, ever, when I thumb through, like, should I send blah, 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 I never picked this book out. So only recently, and you can see the massive spike up by 600%, that, you know, it makes it viable. Now all these people are going to look for their copies. I'm sure people out there have copies of their own, and they're like, I should probably sell this right now when the market's hot, which I would suggest. These books on here sell them all. Within like a couple months, they're all going to go down. So once again, I forbid you to buy this book at that price. You can just go on eBay. You can find this raw for next to nothing. And I mean, it'll be a little heat right now, but give it a little bit and all these books will drop way, way, way down. That'll be it. Have a great weekend.